Hello, and welcome to a brief demonstration introducing the new command line utility fed. My name is Jesse Gum. I'm the creator. Several months ago, I created a proof of concept using a basic shell script that just searched through the current project tree to find a file to edit in Vim, and that came in handy. The point of it was to speed up, was to minimize the necessity of typing cd into a directory, changing directories all over the place just to go edit a file, or typing the full path of a file. I knew that, for example, a file called tournament.erl was in site, source, pages, tournament, but I didn't want to have to type that whole thing. I just wanted to type like vim and tour, and that should be sufficient. So I created this as a proof of concept, and after several months, I've kind of validated that this is a tool that actually comes in handy, so I've fleshed it all out as a Perl script now that you can download and install. So let's go ahead and do a quick demonstration to see kind of how this works. So the first thing you want to do to install it is you want to clone it. So let's get it from GitHub. This will download it. We'll go into fed here, and all we got to do is sudo make install. Do that. If we type fed, you'll see we'll get the instruction here, finding editor version 0.0.1, released today. How exciting. And then a handful of things, handful of utilities. I recommend strongly to do fed global if you have not already. And this will give you some options for file patterns that you want to ignore, how to handle multiple matching file names, we will ask, how to handle file names that don't exist, we'll just fail. What would you like to use as your default editor? I like Vim. Any other file names you'd like to use whose existence represent the root of a project? This is so that you don't have to necessarily put a .fed file at the root of your project. .git and .hg are obviously common ones. We'll stick with those. So we have a default fed config. Also, to kind of simplify, we'll get to this. So let's go ahead, and I have a little demo tree here that we can look. If I type tree, we can see the complex structure that we're using here. It's a bunch of deep directories with a handful of Erl files, just because Erlang is my chosen language. None of these files have any text in them. They're all I just touched them and created them, so they're all empty. But they will demonstrate the utility of it. So let's say we wanted to edit. Right now you can see where we are. We're in temp demo. But if we wanted to edit copper, we just type fedit copper. Fed cop. Oh, we're not in a fed project. It doesn't know where we are. So the solution here would be to type fed init and do this. Matching file names. So yeah, this will ultimately create for us a local configuration that's used only for this particular project, typing fed init. The alternative, if you just want to use the global configuration, but you need to, is just to touch it. Touch .fed, and that will create a bare thing, and it will load only the configuration from your global settings. So anyways, if we were to type, now we'll try it again. If we type fed cop, it opens up. Notice how it opens up this whole path right here. The whole point of it, what it's doing is it's searching the tree, the directory structure, the directory structure of our project, and we can go into any of these paths. If we go to into a shallow path, even though the file copper.erl isn't a descendant of our current location, we can still get in there. Fed cop. It still loads that file because it finds the root of the project that we're working on. Similarly, if we were to say, we think, okay, well, we want to open the copper file, we go fedco, you'll notice it finds several matching files, and then it asks us, what do we want to do? Now, this was one of the configuration options, the ask versus fail. In this case, it says if we press 1, then we can load copper.erl. If we press 2, then we can load controller.erl. If we press 2, that'll load controller.erl into our text editor. Um, Now, if you remember, we had this spiders file, the one image in our thing, and let's say we wanted to edit the spiders file. So we go fed spider. It loads it in Vim. Obviously, this isn't useful at all. So in this scenario, we can actually configure a different editor for different extensions. So if we did fed, we do editor GIF, ping, JPEG, and we want to open it up in GIMP. Now we can do fed spiders, and it's going to load our file with GIMP, and that's it. This makes it real simple if you're working particularly on like a web application or something, and you're working on something, all of a sudden you realize, oh, there's something wrong with this one image, I just need to edit it real quick. Instead of navigating to the thing and navigating to the location and looking through the directory structure, you just type fed file name and it'll open it up. And then what fed will do currently for all of these scenarios is it will list the full configuration that it knows. It lists the project root of the project that we're typing in, the loaded configuration that it loaded as a combination of the default settings, the global settings, and the local project settings. The local project settings will have precedence over everything, and it will also list what files it found that are eligible, and then it will open whatever it can do. So I've found that this is a fantastically helpful tool, particularly in dealing with directory structures where everything is so complicated. So like, I use Erlang, user local lib Erlang. You'll notice I created a .fed file here just so that I can work in here. But for whatever reason, every once in a while you need to dive into the Erlang source code and see what something is doing. And if I wanted to just edit the lists.erl, which is a very common one, fed list, there we go. I don't have to go find it in lib, standard lib, src. I just type fed lists. Similarly, if there's something like fed dict, it'll pop up in a couple of different locations. The one that we want to edit is the dict.erl. Go ahead and do that, and it'll load up the dict file. So this gives us a lot of ability to work with, to work with editing whatever we need to, instead of without having to mess around with too much, searching around the directory structures and trying to find exactly where a particular file is that we want. We might just know, well, we want to edit, we want to edit GB trees or something. So it makes the whole project easier in working with everything I've found. So if you find it helpful, if you actually find this to be a useful utility, you can go ahead and get it from GitHub. I demonstrated how you can clone it. And you can get it from GitHub/Choptastic/fed. This includes a configuration and a walkthrough on how to get it working. And if you want to, contribute to it, go right ahead. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.